So a funny thing happened. Back on December 22nd, I got the new software update for my car and I went ahead and pressed the install button to get it started. And it ran and it said it completed the install. The next morning I got up, I had to run an errand, and I got in the car and I had this message that appeared on the dashboard. Now, as you might guess, my initial reaction to that was something like this. Yeah, I was a little put off by the whole thing. It kind of set me off a little bit because it was kind of weird. It was like, where did this come from? And I set about doing a little research, and I found out that, sure enough, the Tesla has a 12-volt battery in it, just like any other car does, a standard lead-acid 12-volt battery. Now, that came as a little bit of a shock to me. Should it have come as a shock to me? Probably not. I mean, if you read the owner's manual, it's clear that that's the case. But somewhere along the way, I kind of assumed that that wasn't the way it worked, just because it's a different kind of car and has all these lithium-ion batteries in it. Sure, it might have a small starter battery in it, but I didn't think much about it. Why wouldn't it be lithium-ion? So it turns out that it's a standard 12-volt regular battery, just like you'd have in any other car. Now, you can't just pick these up at Pep Boys because they have a slightly different connection in them, but you can order them online. And you can order an upgrade to it, too. That's an upgrade that has that's more lithium-ion, longer lasting. In Florida especially, the lifespan of these batteries is kind of low. Probably about 3 years on average is what I've changed my batteries along the way. But this one kind of surprised me a little bit. I don't know, it set me back a little bit. So I did a little more research and wanted to know, how often does this happen? And sure enough, this happens fairly frequently, especially with some of the cars that were made in 2018 and 19. The batteries die fairly quickly, and it is something that's covered under warranty. But it was that moment of, do I have to get it replaced right now? Can I do it myself? Is it covered under warranty? You have all these questions because you just don't know the answers. Well, a little quick research determined that in the past, used to be they didn't even have a message there. The battery would simply just die. And somebody tweeted Elon Musk about it, and he responded and actually said, hey, we got to fix this problem. And that's why I'm getting the message I'm getting today, because they did actually fix the problem along the way. Now, the other thing I learned was that this is a early warning message. It's the battery degradation has started, so this could take another several weeks before anything would happen, and you might notice a difference. So they tell you just go ahead and keep driving the car for a couple of weeks, set a service appointment, and go ahead and just keep going. So I figured that was fine. Reading some of these comments, you go, well, okay, that's really not so bad. This is really not as bad as it seemed at that moment in time when I first had it happen. Now, the funny thing is, along the way, you have that moment where you start thinking about it and being a little philosophical, and I started recording something where I was thinking about it a little bit. Essentially, it does the same function that you have in any car, and it basically provides the starter action, that it provides enough electrical energy to be able to start the car, and it maintains a lot of the electrical components, the things like the preset channels, somewhat to some degree the air conditioning and how it powers on and off, to some degree the electrical power that you get from the rest of the for the components in the car, like the USB ports and so forth. And then, while I couldn't find any documentation on it, I do believe that that was part of the problem I was having with the navigation system, was that it was coming off of the 12-volt battery, or at least it was partially being charged by that, and that may be why I was having some of the glitches that I was having on my long road trip. I don't know. I can't be sure about that one, but I have a suspicion. My hunch is that that's the case, because it does control a number of systems. Now, after I looked into this a little more and realized that it really was just a battery, I was like, okay, well, let's learn a little bit more about this. So I learned about what to do in case that something happens and you can't start the car, because it could happen at some point that your car just won't start. It still has battery power. It can still run and function as a car, but it won't start. So unlike a car where you turn the key, a traditional gas engine car where you turn the key and it turns the motor over and starts it running, and the electrical energy provides that impulse. In this case, all it does is turn on the components to let the car run. So at some point, when the battery doesn't work anymore, that will be a problem and I won't be able to start the car. So that's why I went ahead and I took my 12-volt power charger, my power dome, and put it in the trunk, just in case I find myself in a situation where I need a quick start. I should be able to start the car from that pretty easily. So I'll just keep that charged in the car for a period of time. Now, that seems like a hacky solution, but here's the thing. Once I realized what it was, I was like, okay, I can get the battery replaced. That's really not a big deal. I mean, the car's only a little over a year old, and it kind of sucks that I have to make an appointment to go do that. but it should be covered under warranty without any issues. Now I know what the battery is, how it works. I even know how to change it because I looked it up and figured out how to change it. So in the future, if I have this car longer than the warranty period, I could certainly replace it myself. It's really not hard at all. It's easily accessible under the frunk, so I could certainly do it if I needed to. So that's good news to know, and I might actually upgrade it in that case. In the meantime, given that the fact that this battery needed to be replaced and it is covered under warranty, I wanted to go ahead and schedule an appointment for myself to get it replaced. I'm going to have to go to a service center. Now, you know, I've been to the service center once to replace that adapter, the dongle for the car to actually hook up to public chargers. And that was, you know, no problem at all. It was really easy, good experience. And that's the only other time I've been to the service center. But I'm like, you know, I've had my long history of servicing cars over the years at various service centers, and there's always a catch. There's always a something that happens, right? Even if you go to a local repair place, there's always something. There's some little thing that's a nuisance factor. So I hesitated a little bit, and plus we were over the holidays. Around the 30th, the 29th or the 30th, I sat down and looked at the app, and I said, okay, let me see how this works, because I've never done this before. And the experience was seamless. You go through and you start putting in your information, and it actually figured out the car had given the 12-volt message. And so it said, is this the reason you want to come in for service? So of course the answer is yes. I went ahead and clicked that. They allow you to write a little text there to say what the issue is. You can upload a photo if you want. That's pretty cool. There was also the issue of some of the accessories maybe having some difficulty, and I went ahead and checked that too. I assume that'll be fixed by the 12-volt battery. And in fact, that may be part of the problem. I noticed the air conditioner had turned off at one point. The radio was having some issues. And back when my longer road trip, when I was having issues with the computer generating the route, it's possible that was battery related. I don't know that for sure, but it is certainly possible. Anyway, went ahead and clicked all that stuff and checked down the boxes and went through it. So as soon as I finished that and I got that part done, then it said, where would you like to schedule your service? Now, the one that's in Dania Beach is actually 11 miles, 12 miles from me, something like that. The one that's in Coral Gables is about 30 miles. Now, a friend of mine had told me that if you're going to schedule service, go down to the one in Coral Gables. It's a better experience. You know, they have more bays, they're just a little bit easier to get in and out of, that sort of stuff. So I was like, when I looked at the app and it said, oh, you know, I can't get one for about a month at the one in Dania, but I could get one for the next day at Coral Gables. I was like, well, I'd be willing to drive down there. But it was just before the holiday, and I didn't really want to drive down. I had some other things I needed to do just before the holiday, so I thought, you know what, I'll wait a couple of days and I'll go ahead and schedule it that way. So I went ahead and left the app and left it like that, and then came back in on, it was I guess the second or third I came back in, and I said, okay, let me go ahead and schedule my appointment that way. I went ahead and scheduled it, went through the whole steps again, exactly the same things, no problem, very easy. Got to the point of actually scheduling it, and it said, hey, the one in Dania is available on this Friday. The one in Coral Gables isn't available until the following week. So I'm like, well, hey, Dania's closer, why not? I'll just go ahead and go there. This should be an easy repair. Realistically, what they tell you is it should take between an hour and 2 hours to get the repair done just because of the nature of the way it works. So I did that. I went ahead and scheduled it for there. Then I got an email confirmation that said, here's the summary of what we're going to do for your car. And because of social distancing, we make this really easy on you. You basically just pull your car into a specified spot, you leave your plastic key card in the car, and then you walk away. And we'll let you know when it's done. I'm like, wow, this is very different. Everything about this is different than what you think about when you think about taking a regular gas car to a service station. You know, any place you might service it, whether it's the dealer or anywhere else. That's pretty cool. I'm like, good. Then a while later, a day or so later, I got a message from the Tesla app telling me you have a message. Oh, cool, okay. So I clicked the message and it came back and it said, okay, your appointment is confirmed. Now here's the cost estimate. And because it's covered under warranty, the cost estimate was 0, which is great. And I was like, okay, cool, that's perfect. You know, you have that moment of hesitation. Is it gonna be covered under warranty? Is it not gonna be covered under warranty? It's that moment when you think to yourself, I'm not sure. But of course it was, so no problem. Great. So I went ahead and accepted the offer of $0, no problem. And I'm like, okay, fine. Then I'll go out there on Friday, and no problem. I'll just take some work with me. You know, I can even take like it's a beautiful day in South Florida, as you might guess, because I'm wearing short sleeves. I'm like, I'll just take one of these outdoor chairs with me. Maybe I'll just set up and use my phone as a hotspot and just sit outside and do a little work while I'm sitting there. No problem. This is going to be easy. Well then, this morning, I actually got an email from the service advisor saying, hey, we could schedule you for mobile service instead if you'd prefer. Wait a second, you could schedule me for mobile service? Hold on a second, this is awesome. All of a sudden, my view went from, oh my God, what happened to the car, to I'm delighted with the experience. The experience so far has been great. This is tremendous. This is so easy, and I love this about the experience with the car. The car itself has been phenomenal, no issues whatsoever. And now the service experience has been really, really good. Charging has been easy. Everything's been easy. I like this car a lot. Look, I'm not trying to be a saint for Tesla here, because I like my Tesla. In fact, I love my Tesla, but I'm not saying that Tesla has got it all figured out, because they don't. But I'm very happy with the car and the way things are working, and I'm very happy so far with the service experience. So far, everything's great, and I'm really happy with the way things are working out. So this is really cool, and I think this is going to work out just fine. Well, that was exceptionally easy. All I needed to give him was the key here, and we got started. So he just drove off, so I can take the mask off now. So it was really easy. He showed up. I got a text that they were coming at about 10 o'clock or so, and then he showed up just a couple minutes later, no problem. And it was really pretty easy. He just pulled out and got in the truck there, and the truck was interesting because, first of all, it makes me laugh that the truck is actually a gas-powered vehicle. For whatever reason, that just makes me laugh. But anyway, he had the truck, he pulled up, he opened it up, and you could see that there was some spare tires in there, a few other pieces of equipment, and tire pressure, air hose, so you could put air in the tires. And he had the battery sitting there, so he got out. I gave him my key card, and then he just opened the car up, and he was here for about 15 minutes doing the work. Really no problem at all. Very straightforward. He just used a screwdriver to take the cover off, worked on it, put the new one in, and then double checked to make sure everything was working. So he checked all the windows and the doors and all that stuff just to verify that it was working. And then I got a text saying that they were done, and that was it. And I happened to be outside for the whole 15 minutes he was here, so I just got my key back and bid him adieu, and that was the end of the whole experience. Tremendously easy experience. I highly recommend it. It was a beautiful thing. When it's that easy, I love it when it comes together that easily. It really makes a difference. And he even put a little air in the tires for me just as a courtesy as he was finishing it. Yet I highly recommend it. This was easier than I could have even imagined, honestly. But great stuff. So there you go. That was my whole experience with getting the battery warning and then going through the whole process. It took me a couple of weeks to get through it, but man, no problems at all. It was so seamless, and I talked to a couple other Tesla owner friends of mine, and they said, yeah, everything about the service experience is great, and I have to agree with them. There's a couple of things about Tesla that I really like. One is that, you have chargers available, so it's more than just an electric car. It's an electric car to start, and that's a great thing. I really like that. But you have the chargers available, so you can go on distance trips and actually do your charging as you go along, and they're spread out at a reasonable interval. So it's an electric distribution company in a way. And then they have the customer service end of it that's really pretty terrific. Now, while the car's under warranty, it's very, very easy. As it moves out from under warranty, then it might be a little more complicated, but still, I'm pretty satisfied with the way things have gone, so I'm very happy with it.